Busted, of course, coming into a Tuesday night game that kind of kicks off a pretty hectic schedule of Tuesday, Saturday weeks for you, as well off the back of a long trip on Saturday, and albeit you didn't get the 3 points, Mike touched on after the game it being a positive performance from you. But looking to tomorrow, how's sort of the boys faring in training, I suppose, as well? Obviously, you've got that kind of split maybe between kind of classroom work and on the actual pitch work. So how's it sort of been today so far?
Yeah, the boys have come back in. They're in a good place. Obviously, Saturday's performance was, in my opinion, it was an outstanding performance. I thought the boys were brilliant. They were so brave in what we'd asked them to do. We approached the game exactly how we want to approach the game. Obviously, the result wasn't perfect for us in terms of we didn't bring the 3 points back, but in terms of how the boys conducted themselves throughout the game, I thought they were outstanding and they deserve a lot of credit from that. But it's really important that we don't rest on that, and we make sure that we come back in today, we do some more learning in the classroom. We look at Kidderminster and how they can potentially hurt us and how we can potentially hurt them, and then we go up the top and we've trained and we've went through a couple of things that we're thinking is going to happen in tomorrow's game that we want to try and exploit, but we've got such a good group that we know they're not going to get carried away with playing well, and alternatively they're not going to get carried away if we don't play so well. So it's about having that level mindset, but always knowing that the next game's really important, and that Kidderminster are going to come here off the back of a defeat, but a really good performance themselves as well, and they're going to do everything they can for the 3 points, and we have to be fully aware of that, and we have to make sure that our concentration levels are so high, and we need to find a consistency where it's a couple of good performances and then we come off. We need to make sure that the performances are consistently high throughout.
And I mean, you mentioned obviously Kidderminster specifically. They're a new side to the division, having come up last season, but of course a side you know from playing them in the National League North previously, and as well obviously Russ Penn, still manager, someone who you'll know from him being a player at Gateshead in the not too distant past, really. But I mean, I suppose, what are you kind of expecting from them, really? I mean, it's not like they've come up and been getting convincingly beaten or anything like that. They've just kind of been slightly on the wrong end of a few narrow results, really.
No, if you look at the stats tell you that they've been really unlucky with results. The performances have been there. They should have a lot more points on the board than what they have. Russ is an unbelievable person, first and foremost, and he's an outstanding manager as well. And you can see the boys really put a shift in for him, and he has the backing of all the players to work as hard as what they possibly can. And I feel like you always get that with the Kidderminster side under Russ. You know, you're in for a shift. They're going to come here. They're going to try and get the ball back as much as they possibly can. They're going to try and put the ball in your box as much as they can. They're going to make it physical. One-on-one duels are going to be really tough, and I think that's the standards what Russ demands. And he's done a really good job there. He's recruited really well in the summer as well. I think they've made 2 or 3 really good signings. So they're in a strong position. As I say, they should have more points on the board than what's suggested at the moment. So we're under no illusion that Kidderminster's a really good side, and we have to, as I've just previously touched on, we have to have them concentration levels. We can't let our standards drop at all. We have to maintain that performance level, and that's really the focus for us, is really understand what Kidderminster are going to do, but we need to focus on ourselves and make sure that we're right, and then hopefully tomorrow we'll get another good performance.
And tomorrow's game, of course, kind of ticks you over into the 10 game mark, which I think when you look at supporters and pundits and stuff, everyone always seems to talk about, you'll get a picture of where teams are after 10 games and things like that. I mean, in your mind, do you feel like you have more of an idea at all, even if it's not in league standards, but maybe how teams are setting up and how they sort of like to get themselves playing, as opposed to maybe first few games of the season where it's maybe a little bit more unknown?
I think the only thing with that is you get to see more games. So obviously at the start of the season, the first games, you've got no games to analyse and to go off. Obviously 10 games in, you've got plenty of games to have a look at how different teams set up defensively, what sort of patterns they're looking to play when they have the ball, how they score the goals. So you've certainly got more data to go off, and more footage to go off to get a good identity of the opposing team. But in terms of ourselves, it's more the process of just developing every day, which we've done over the last 4 seasons. That's mainly what we're looking to do, is improve individual players, make them better than when they came in the building, so they leave the building better. That's on a daily basis, and then collectively that's the same sort of principles, as can we make Gateshead Football Club better today than what it was yesterday, and that is the focus every single day.
Yeah, and with, I mean, we mentioned before the games at home both being on Tuesday and Saturday this week, I suppose good for you is after a couple of long trips to have a couple of home games now where, you're not having to trek 600-mile round trip just to play a game.
Yeah, the away games, they are tough. The distance that we travel, I feel personally myself that I'm really used to that now. I know when we first started and you had a long trip, you'd really look forward to, when we're not on the bus this week or we'll get a home game. But now I'm kind of accustomed to it, and I look forward to every game the same now. Obviously, as I've touched on loads of times, we love being here in front of our fans. We love performing for them. They give us that 12th man sort of atmosphere, and as I say, we're looking forward to be back at home. But in terms of the travelling, you've always got more travel to come, so we never get comfortable thinking, we've got a home game, so we can relax a little bit now. It needs to be every single day. We need to come in with that relentless mindset, whether it's getting on the bus travelling for 6 hours, whether it's a home game. The mindset needs to be the same every single day, and once we get that, then we feel our ceiling comes a little bit higher, and we can become better footballers and obviously a better club as well.
Yeah, and in terms of the sort of injury and fitness picture at the minute, how is everyone looking off the back of the weekend?
Yeah, obviously Wernie picked up a little knock, so we're just looking at him to see how he's feeling now. But other than that, it's kind of a clean bill of health. Looking at injury wise, Wheelo's 2 or 3 weeks off coming back into training, which is obviously massive news for us. Really looking forward to having Wheelo back in. But other than that, it's everything's the same. So we've got the same squad to pick for. Panny's there now, so he's trained for a full week. We'd like to get a little bit more training sessions in before we want to use him for the squad, just to make sure that he's fully over his injury. But he's back full training now, full contact and everything. So again, that's another big boost for us having Panny back in as well. But yeah, the squad's really healthy at the minute, and all the boys are fresh and ready to go.